Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Leslie Godet, self-care strategist for female entrepreneurs. I specialize in systems that transform daily stress and constant overwhelm into clarity and calm while also creating space for personal fulfillment. Today, I want to talk about burnout from my perspective, my own lived experience. If you've been noticing, my posts have been this week sharing about some of the market research calls that I had with some women who were really incredible, and really I felt honored to have the conversations with them, and they shared their personal journeys of burnout. Some of the women that I spoke to had some really um, incredible experiences around burnout, where it really took a toll, not only physically, mentally, emotionally, but it also, one of the women that I spoke with actually had to close down a business because of it. And so I wanted to share these experiences with you. One, because I feel that burnout, it's become a natural thing that we talk about. Like, it's a normal topic. It's become normalized, in other words, in a way that it's like, oh yeah, oh well, if it happens to me, or I've never experienced it, or so and so's experienced burnout but it's never happened to me, that type of thing. I don't want it to become a conversation like that. I really truly want the story of burnout to become more about us having a conversation with each other, talking about its impact on ourselves, and how we can actually share our stories to help others. Because I truly feel a lot of the time we feel that we are in our own experiences all by ourselves, alone on an island, especially when we don't ask for that help. And I really feel it's really important that we start having this dialogue more and more and more. I've been reading, as I said, I've talked about this in several of my podcasts, sorry, my recordings, about a book I'm reading by Dr. Aditi Nurikar called The Five Resets. And it's really about rewiring your brain. It's about stress and burnout. And it dropped back in January of this year. So it's a great book. And if you're interested, I highly recommend it. I'm taking my time to go through it because it's just so good, and I don't want to gloss over it. I really want to absorb what I'm learning from her. And so again, today I really want to talk about about burnout, as how it's affecting the women that I've talked to, and I'll be sharing more posts this week about their stories. But also I want to share my own, because I feel like this is important to share, because I think a lot of the time we think, okay, well, this person's talking about a topic, but have they really lived that experience? And I am here to share with you that I have. Briefly, before I get to that, a few weeks ago, I did a 4-week series around emotional burnout, with something that I had recently experienced and something that I had uncovered. And I definitely encourage you to go back and watch that series, because emotional burnout it's a little bit different from the professional burnout that I'm going to be talking about today. But the emotional burnout is real, and it's where you're really overextending your time and your energy into other people, and you're not taking care of yourself, your own emotional needs, your own energy needs, your time management, all of that. So I definitely encourage you to go back and watch the series. So today, as I said, I want to share my story around burnout. I have a couple of stories. The first story I want to share is the first time I actually remember experiencing burnout. So I was in my early 20s. It was in the beginning of my career, working for a real estate attorney. I've been working with him for I guess it was probably almost 4 years. And I was thriving. At least I felt I was thriving. I loved what I was doing. I had a lot of freedom and flexibility in my time with respect to the things that I was doing and how to get it done. I was able to take work home. I felt that that was an asset, not having to stay in the office and stay overtime, but actually I could take work home, which allowed me that flexibility of my time. At least that's how I looked at it. I was also, on top of that, working for a very busy lawyer, a real estate attorney, who had not just myself, but 5 other legal secretaries at the time. That's what we were called. And so he had 6 of us, and we were hopping. Like, we had incredible business for a single practitioner. It was unbelievable. And so a lot of the signups, the closings, myself and the other legal assistants or legal secretaries, I should say, we would take our clients from our loans or our real estate deals, and we would actually meet with them ourselves as well to help with that load, because there was just so many. We were closing, hundreds of deals a month. And so, with that being said, I'm in almost 4 years, and I'm working with a psychiatrist who he doesn't have an assistant. So he had asked me if I would be interested. I believe that's how it went. I can't really remember because I was in my early 20s. It's been quite some time since then. But he and I, we started talking, and I was hired to transcribe his coach, his client appointments. So I would type up the notes from the sessions that he had with his clients. So, and I was actually thinking it was incredible because I felt like it was something different, something new and exciting. And so I took that on as well. So here I was working I was doing a lot of hours, as far as I would go in really super early in the morning so I could avoid the phones first thing in the morning, because the phones would get really incredibly busy during the day. And then at night, I was also not only taking work home from the psychiatrist to type up his sessions, but also I was taking work home from what I was doing, which I actually had a part of a division within the firm where I was actually kind of like the loan division, where we were doing the refinances and that. And so I was actually taking on all of those and doing all the paperwork and doing a lot of the signups with the clients as well. And so that was a lot for me, and I felt like I was thriving. But what ended up happening one day, which I felt was like out of the blue, but obviously it wasn't, one day I started to have a panic attack. I didn't even know that's what it was. I had no clue that that was possible. And for me anyways, because I felt I had so much energy. I could do, like, I had the energy to live my life outside of the office, just having fun with my friends, with my family, and as well to be able to have this really highly productive position. And one day I had this panic attack, and I started freaking out at my desk. And one of the legal secretaries, who was my friend, who we're still friends today, came to my aid, and she said, let's go outside. Let's go outside for a walk. So we ended up going outside for a walk, and I calmed down. And I just realized it was just there's so much stress and pressure from everything that I had been doing, and it just had built up, and I hadn't even really recognized it. And I'm sure there were signs, but I wasn't recognizing the signs. And then on top of that, my body then started to physically manifest symptoms. I started to get hives whenever the air conditioner would come on, whenever it would get a little bit cold outside. My arms, all of my arms, my face, my neck, my hands would break out in hives. And I don't know if you've ever had hives before, but they're highly uncomfortable, very itchy. And so that happened. And then the third thing that happened to me was I developed an intolerance to lactose. So one day, all of a sudden, I got really incredibly sick after having a milkshake, something I had had many times over my lifetime up until that time. And all of a sudden, I couldn't keep it down. And I thought it was a one-off experience, but then when I did it again, it happened again. And so I went to the doctor, and come to find out that I developed an intolerance to lactose. So all of these things that happened to me was just my body physically saying enough is enough. I didn't know that at the time that I was actually burning out and having, stress-related panic attack. But as I look back over my lifetime, that's what happened. So maybe you can relate to that. Maybe that's what you've found happening to you, or you've had this happen to you. I really encourage you to go back and look, because sometimes we think that, oh, I've never experienced burnout, or I've never had a panic attack. But maybe if you actually do some digging, because I fully feel like there's clues in the past, you'll find out, oh yeah, I did. So that's what happened to me. Now, the next time that this happened was back in 2017. I was working full-time for a law firm in California, and I was working long hours. I had a long commute to and from work. And I love what I do. Like, I still actually have a footprint in the community working with them, but it's now in my own independent consultant side of my business, where I'm still supporting them, but it's my business, and so I actually control my time. But then my time wasn't controlled by me, and uh, I really found myself getting to that place where I had no life. I felt my life revolved around my job. My relationship was suffering with my husband was suffering. I really didn't have any friends. I wasn't doing anything outside of working. And I was really depressed and very emotional. Every time I would have a conversation with my husband, it was always from an emotional place. And I could never have that conversation with him about how I was feeling because I was always emotional about it. And so one day I turned to him and I said, I really feel, first of all, number one, something's wrong. I don't feel good. I feel like something's off. I'm not sure what. And I said, we need to make some changes. At that point in my life, I really felt like I was headed for a heart attack, and that I was going to die within the year. I really felt that. And it was a really scary realization for me that if I didn't make some changes, that would be my reality. And so back in March of 2018, we got settled. We decided we're going to move from California, was where we were living. We were going to make Las Vegas our home. We got set up there. And then I went into the office and I gave them 2 weeks notice. I really didn't have a plan. At that time, I didn't have a plan other than I knew I could support them online, but I didn't know if they were going to go for that. That was my only idea, was to approach them and see, can I work with you full time? Sorry, can I work with you as an independent consultant where I support you and the lawyers and the paralegals online? This is what I can do. We created a position for me to be able to do this. And since March of 2018, I have been supporting them this way. What that did was it allowed me to open up my time. I gained back time freedom, which was what I felt a slave to, my time. I didn't have time for myself to take care of me, to think, to have quality of life. I just didn't have that. It was all revolved around work. Taking back my time, I literally believe back when I took back my time that it saved my life. It truly did. Because as I said, I didn't feel that I felt like I had a year left to my life if things didn't change. So what I learned from my lessons through burnout is really, first of all, pay attention when you're feeling that way. Pay attention when you're feeling stressed. If you're feeling really tired, if you're super irritable, if things are setting you off that normally wouldn't set you off, like you're getting irritated by things that people in your life are saying or doing that normally wouldn't bother you, or maybe you're trying to find fault in things that really uh, don't make sense, but that have nothing to do with what you're going through, but because you're going through it, you're trying to find something. You're looking externally for those things that are really irritating you, that are you think are the cause of everything. And so what I learned was when I started paying attention to signs that they're there. Like as soon as I know when I start to feel really tired, or I feel, I start to feel sluggish or maybe less motivated, I know that there's something happening and I could be in the very beginning stages of a burnout phase, whether it's emotional or professional. And so I look at that right away and I take steps to really turn it around, because I know that it's important to do that, to not just ignore the signs. I take breaks throughout my day because I know that pushing through doesn't serve me in any way. It doesn't help me to do better, to be more productive. All it does is just drains me of my energy, steals time. I get emotional, all of that. So I understand that about myself. So it's really important that you think about this, recognize those signs early so that you don't end up in that burnout phase. So I really encourage you to take time to reflect on that. If you are in a burnout phase, if that's how you're feeling right now, maybe disconnected, maybe you are feeling like you're super stressed, nobody understands you, you're getting into a lot of arguments with your significant other, maybe you're just not feeling right. Take a look at what's going on around your life and don't ignore those signs, and you can take back your life if you just take the time to recognize what's going on. So I wanted to share that with you because I feel like for you to know why I'm actually going live and doing this 24-week series around professional burnout, and why it's so important to me, is because I've lived this experience. These are just 2 stories of burnout that I've shared with you, but I have a couple of others that I can share with you. And these were beyond into my entrepreneurial journey. When I again stepped into entrepreneurship back in 2018, there were some things that I was still finding myself, old habits that I was falling back into, old patterns, but I'll save that for another time. I just wanted to really come on and share with you that I have lived this experience. I can totally relate if this is something that you're going through. And I want you to be able to actually take back your life. And that's why I'm going live every week and sharing around different areas and bringing in experts to talk about burnout and stress so that you have the tools at hand. If you are wanting to have more one-on-one access to me, where you want that support, you want more support beyond just the posts and the videos that I do, then reach out to me in the DMs and we can start a conversation and we can see what that can look like and how I can support you. I hope that you're having an amazing week so far. I hope you have a fantastic Wednesday, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.